Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So today we've got a review for you on the Ryobi Lithium 4-volt cordless drill or screwdriver. It's actually a pretty cool little machine, to be honest with you. It's got about 12 torque settings on it, right up into a drill mode. So if you want to use drill bits, you can drill holes with this thing. Not the fastest kit on the block, 1 speed only, but does have forward and reverse, very handy. And it locks up pretty solid when you're not using the trigger, so if you have to give a little extra, twist with your wrist for some reason, it does lock up pretty solid, so that's really decent. It's got the original charger with it. Now this is something I got on my huge tool score. If you check out that video, got a pile of tools off a buddy of mine for a good price. And this is one of them. And I like lithium powered stuff a lot better than nickel metal hydrate and NiCad stuff, because those battery power plants, well, they're kind of stone age nowadays, to be honest with you, really. I mean, they still make NIM batteries for some reason. But the lithium stuff is a lot better because there's a lot stronger power source coming out of the lithium batteries. You can charge it up, leave it on the shelf, they say, for up to 18 months and still take it out and use it. Well, I wouldn't exactly say 18 months, okay? Maybe 5 or 6 months is a little bit more realistic, and you'll still have a lot of power left, and you can just go ahead and use it and you'll have fun. Now, I did have a couple of issues with this initially when I got it from my buddy, because it was flatline dead, and I thought, okay, well, it is a lithium battery, it's not that huge of a deal. I flatlined those plenty of times and never had issues. But anyways, charged it up for a couple hours, and it's like, okay, the red lights are still on, nothing goes green. Of course, I have no manual for this thing at all, right? No instructions to say what happens. The charger doesn't really tell you anything either, but there's a red light on the charger and a red light on the drill, on the unit. And so anyway, 5 hours, charged it up again, 5 hours. No, it's still nothing. It's like, maybe it's like, I don't know, maybe one of those things where it just has no intelligence to it. So anyways, I started making use of the drill on that charge, and I've used it up quite a bit, did a lot of, putting in a lot of screws into the stuff. I hung up my new LCD mirror in my bathroom with it, etc. And then I finally decided, well, let's put this thing on charge again, after letting it sit for a while. And put it on charge again, let her sit, and then I just ignored it. So I don't know exactly how long it took. It wasn't like all day or anything, It was definitely a few hours for sure. And all of a sudden, hey, the 2 red lights are flashing, which means obviously it's charged, because they went from solid to flashing. And and sure enough, full power, plenty of torque in the sucker. So I guess after being flatlined for God knows how long, it's been like this, it kind of needed to be set back up again, the battery. And it's doing really well, really liking it. And it's got a nice little LED light on it too, which is pretty cool, so you can see into, darker areas if you need to. The nice thing about these drills, other than the fact they're a pistol style design, which is actually the most comfortable design you could ask for in like a cordless screwdriver slash, sort of drill. It's not very fast, but it will drill holes into metal, which is great. And when you're drilling into metal, you need to drill slow anyhow. Now you can get the drill bits with the hex shank. I don't recommend using those for metal though. For wood, fine. Metal, no way. You can get aftermarket stuff for cordless machines like this, one of which is a chuck. Now they have a keyless chuck, so you can get a 1/4 inch chuck, you can get a 3/8 chuck. I have both style of chucks, and they work really well. And then this way I can use my titanium nitride bits and drill through metals like aluminum or steel or whatever. And like I said, you need to drill metal at a slow rate anyway, otherwise you just burn up your bits, So it will do the job quite nicely, and it does a really good job. Plenty of power there. As far as lifetime of battery goes for usage, I mean, that depends on what you're really screwing into or drilling into. I've driven some pretty long screws with this thing, numerous ones, also drywall screws, etc. You know, and the thing has got a lot of torque. Now, when I'm using it as a screwdriver for heavy duty screwing into objects like wood and whatnot, I put it onto the drill mode, which is the strongest torque setting. So there's no forgiveness or anything like that, right? Whereas if you drop it down really low, it's good for doing things like drywall screws into drywall. This is actually probably going to be a really good drywall gun, really, because you can set the torque on it to the point where it just countersinks the screw in just enough, so you're not using like 10 pounds of mud to cover a big crater, because when you put a screw into drywall, you only put it in till it hits flush, and then just a little tiny bit inward, and that's more than enough. And then this way you're not using a lot of drywall mud either at the same time. And you also don't want to go too far in anyways, otherwise your drywall board is not going to stay up there properly. So, that's kind of a key thing, right? So you can set the torque setting up on this to accomplish that task. Same with other fasteners. You want to only have a certain amount of pressure on them. You can set that torque setting up and it works great. And like I said, there's a lot of aftermarket type of hex drivers that just plug and go into this, screwdriver bits, etc. So pretty versatile little thing. Now I like this style too over those like long sticks that look like billy bats, for cordless screwdrivers. This one does give you, in my opinion, a lot more power. I've had those other styles before, and I also got to actually try out one that ran on just straight double A's. And those are just like, they're good for driving maybe a couple of small screws and then blah, there goes the batteries, right? But even at the rechargeable style ones, that's all we had originally way back in the day too. And I had another pistol grip style one like this that was Black & Decker that I bought a few years ago, and it had this weird funky rotating head thing to do other positions, and very, very bad design, by the way. It's no wonder nobody else picked it up. Black & Decker tried it, and guess what? It was a flop. The whole gear train just blew apart on me, and I really wasn't doing anything strenuous to it. So I really didn't care for that, and that was an expensive thing. That was like about 40 or 50 bucks, I think I paid for that thing. And at first it seemed like it was a pretty good thing, but after a while, yeah, the gear train exploded. I've had the other type of screwdrivers. I never even had a problem with any of those before. They've always been great. We do have a NIM-powered Mastercraft one styled like something similar to this. And the NIM-powered thing is like you start putting a couple screws in and all of a sudden it goes, bleh. It's like, that sucks. Lithium power, it stays full out, man, until that battery is just ready to garf, you know what I mean? So it's really decent little machine. And for Ryobi, I've actually got some respect for this. I've had some really super bad luck with Ryobi products before, and it kept me away from them. This came with a batch of tools, so I ain't complaining. Thought, well, let's give it a try. It's a Ryobi. How good can it be anyway? And it turned out it was actually a really good machine. So pretty happy with this thing. Pretty durable too. You can drop this thing, I've done some drop tests, which I'm going to do for you right now. So kind of, won't see, where'd it go? Oh, there it is, underneath the table. You can just kind of flush it around again. And we'll just, over there. Yeah, we'll pick that up. Let's bump it off the shoulder. Yeah. So yeah, and you pick it right back up, and not too bad. No visible damage anywhere, all good. I like the rubberized handle. It's not a soft rubber, but it's not entirely a really hard rubber either. Makes for a good anti-traction. Huge trigger on this thing, I like that. Doesn't matter where you squeeze the thing. Good little trigger. Single speed's kind of nice. But anyways, yeah, overall I'd say it's a pretty good little machine. I think these things sold for, because they don't make this model anymore, but I did a little bit of research, and I found one that looked very much the same as it. And from what I could see, they were around about $44, $45, which actually isn't too shabby. That's not too bad for something that's actually got some quality in it. So yeah, if you can get your hands on This particular model, because it's the only one I know anything about, it's actually a pretty nice little machine if you can get one that's, you know, still running good and strong. The drawback, of course, of built-in lithium battery is once the battery is completely shot, well, you throw the drill in the garbage can because there's no replacing that battery. So that part sucks, unless you can find a way to get a replacement. Because you can take the drill apart. It does come apart, but you're going to have to find a replacement battery somewhere. That's the only thing. And if you can, well, hey, good for you. Put her back together with a new battery, and you'll still get years and years more service out of this thing. So not too shabby. Where am I going to put this thing? I'd say probably somewhere around about a 4 out of 5 is actually a good place for this. I think it's got quality in it. It does perform really well. You know, the torque setting thing works really well. Very accurate, you know, for what it needs to be able to do. Big trigger is nice. Durability, obviously, it's got some good durability. I could probably take this thing and just, you know, whip it outside, and as long as it doesn't smash into a brick wall at the other end, I'm sure it'll stay together. You know what I mean? So if you slip with butterfingers and you're up on a ladder and it hits the ground, at least it's likely not going to get hurt. You know, I mean, we can do a drop test right here now. Like, let's take this. My ceiling's a little over 8 feet. Absolutely zero damage. So it'll take an 8-foot drop pretty simple. So not too shabby, guys. Anyways, that's pretty much about it for this review. And let me know what you think. I like it. I think it's a pretty cool little rig, you know. So, you never know. I might actually buy into one of the newer Ryobi cordless screwdrivers once this one finally pukes out on me one day. You know, but until then, I'm going to use this thing as often as I can and for what I can. Just one more thing, though, before we do go. Getting into tight spaces is what you need these things for. Especially tight spaces. Those long ones, they're not going to get you into tight spaces. Something this small, boom, tight space. If you need extra pressure, put your palm on the back, get the extra pressure, pull your trigger, push in, you know, or, you know, reverse, remove fasteners. Works great. That's it. That's all, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.